Hello, beautiful people. It's Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today, we're back again with another video. Still on the Blake Lively and the Justin Baldoni situation. We're going to be checking this video from Candace Owens. I mean, at this point, lots of people are invested in this because this isn't Me Too gone wrong. And obviously, lots of people stand for the truth. I also stand for the truth. But I will also love your thoughts and your contribution at the end of this video. Let's check it out.
All right, guys. So we all know the backstory here. Blake Lively essentially threatened, you could say, Justin Baldoni, calling Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds her beautiful little dragon monsters that she sometimes has to use to get what she wants done. Well, I am pleased to report that we have got live footage of one of her dragons. Check this out. I am so sorry, Queen Khaleesi. It does not seem to be going well for you right now. Well, we'll tell you guys, yesterday we did this episode. Obviously, you saw it. I just was starting to put together this timeline like the psycho that I am and recognize that Taylor Swift was just in the mix a lot. You know, she's listed special thanks to Taylor Swift on the credits of It Ends With Us. We had a lot of question marks about why that was. And again, just her particular flavor and style of I'm the victim and like these horrible men did something to me. And I personally did not feel that Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had the star power to get the New York Times to risk their professional reputation to help take down Justin Baldoni. That's like global star power. That's something Kris Jenner can get done, Taylor Swift can get done, Beyonce can get done, not Ryan Reynolds, not a Blake Lively for sure. Anyway, so today woke up, Daily Mail, huge article. And I want to tell you something first and foremost before we even discuss this article. Do not let people mistake you into thinking this is just a gossip column, okay? I've hung around some of these A-listers. I used to be friends with Kanye West. I know how this works. And let me tell you something that is well known in Hollywood is that Taylor Swift has plugs, especially at the Daily Mail, when she wants to get a narrative out. The person that works for her is this woman named Tree. And Tree is allegedly vicious. She will protect Taylor Swift's reputation by any means necessary. And they fold, okay? The editors, the writers, journalists, when she says, put something in the mail, it gets done. And I'm not saying that part allegedly. That is a fickety fact, okay? Take that to the bank, start a 401k. Tree knows how, when she feels Taylor Swift is being threatened, she's going to protect her reputation. So this Daily Mail article appears very timely. It says Taylor Swift's taking a step back from Blake Lively as dramatic legal battle with Justin Baldoni threatens their decade-long friendship. And it's got Jane Fatushka as the writer. He is in the entertainment space. He's like the top writer for their entertainment column. And he's not going to just write this unless he was told this. This is how it works in the background, you guys. You have these PR people who come behind and they tell you this is what we want planted. And the more power you have, it will be word for word, exactly what you want the public to read. So I'll tell you what they want the public to read. It says Taylor Swift is taking a step back from her friendship with Blake Lively after feeling like she was used as an intimidation tactic by the actress in a lawsuit that she never wanted to be embroiled in. For the time being, she is taking a step back from Blake because she doesn't want to get tangled in this more than she already has, which is far more than she ever needed to be, an insider told the Daily Mail. Her friends also think that Blake's I'm Khaleesi and like her, I happen to have dragons text to Justin was uncool and unnecessary because she was essentially used as an intimidation tactic. She was referred to as some kind of pet or possession. Taylor shouldn't even be involved in this at all. She was only going over to visit Blake and Ryan with the understanding that the meeting would be over. A second source said, Taylor has politely backed away from it all. She is conscious of her own image and hates that she was even mentioned. Okay, so the last part is true. She is politely backed away because she's conscious of her own image. She's extremely conscious. But it can't always be that Taylor Swift is being used. She can't always be being used. I'm sorry. It's been like 20 years of her being used, and I don't feel that that is the true story, okay? They acknowledge in this piece that the last time that Blake Lively and Swift were pictured together was in October on a double date with Travis Kelce, and since basically Blake Lively has filed this sexual harassment complaint with the California Civil Rights Department, they have not been pictured together. So again, I'm going to tell you why I don't believe this article. First and foremost, because it is just Taylor's modus operandi to constantly say that she's being used and she doesn't know how she got here, blah, blah, blah. But there's also something that doesn't make sense, okay? What do you mean you showed up and the meeting was still going on? What does that mean? What is it? I showed up and the meeting was still going on. So what are you being victimized by? If I show up at my friend's house and there's a meeting going on and I didn't know it was still going to go on, I don't need to insert myself in that meeting. Justin Baldoni in his lawsuit stipulates that Taylor Swift peer pressured him. And she's not denying that in this article. She's not saying I didn't speak to him. I said nothing, which I would be like, oh, you just used me as an intimidation tactic in your phone. I had nothing to do with it. She is saying that she then went and heaped praise on Blake Lively's version of the opening scene. That's what his lawsuit states. This is when they were talking about that rooftop scene. Okay. So she inserted herself in that. So unless Blake gave her the nudge and said, can you go in there? In which case Taylor Swift is still responsible for having peer pressured him. Then there's no deniability here. She can't say I had nothing. I don't know how I got involved in this. You got involved in it because you peer pressured him to make a change that he didn't want to make to his movie. So her follow-up text, which reads like a psycho, obviously, I'm Khaleesi, these are my dragons. She said it because you did something. Okay. He clearly texted and said, you didn't have to do that. You didn't have to have Taylor Swift there to make me look at your edits. And Blake Lively doesn't say, oh, what are you talking about? Taylor Swift said nothing to you. Instead, she doubles and triples down by saying, she's my beautiful little monster. Sometimes I have to release these little monsters on the world. So it happened. Okay. It actually happened. And Baldoni said that she specifically spoke up about how much she loved the script, which implies to me that unless Taylor Swift is a liar, she read the script. So she involved herself in the script of the movie. Unless she lied. Again, just backing up a friend. Yeah, what she said, love the move. She must have read Blake Lively's edit. So why is she backing out here? Very carefully worded back out because she's smart. Okay. Taylor Swift is very smart. She is media savvy. Tree is media savvy. She's looking at this case. Okay. If you're her point person, Tree, and you're reading through the documents, you're going, Blake Lively's going to lose this. Okay. So we're going to take a lifeboat now and say that we don't want to deal with this. She could still, by the way, be friends with Blake Lively in the background. If Tree is as savvy as I think she is, she's probably going to say to Taylor, pretend to be shocked that this article came out, but we're getting you out of this publicly. We're going to throw this article in the Daily Mail. Then you tell, I don't know what happened. I feel used by Tree. I don't know how this article happened. So the public thinks you have nothing to do with it. And you are not going to be pictured with her until this thing is over. And this is being slated for 2026. Okay. So I don't even think they're not friends anymore. She's the godmother to her children. But I think that Taylor Swift is publicly backing away from this friendship because she's intelligent. Like I said, I have a scent on this like a hound, and I wanted to show you something. And I'm going to show you why I even further do not believe a word that Taylor Swift is saying. And I still have question marks about her involvement because something else that got sent to me is completely crazy. Okay. Seriously, you guys, this is, get seated here. This is super interesting. So I'm showing you something that I actually had saved as a piece of the puzzle, but I didn't know where it quite fit in the puzzle. So I just held it to the side. I was like, okay, this is random. It's a random thing that I know happened, but I don't know why this happened. And I'm not sure why it's important. So apparently toward the end of filming for It Ends With Us, and also simultaneously the end of the filming for Deadpool, because remember, these films were filming at the exact same time. Suddenly, the It Ends With Us crew decided that they needed a new composer. It's very strange. The movie has a composer, and you would not be hiring that person or trying to change that person or fire that person late in the day. You don't just suddenly switch out the composer a year after you begin filming. That sounds very stressful. And what was even more interesting is that not only did they remove the It Ends With Us composer, but they decided to use Deadpool's composer. Okay, so here's the clip that I didn't show you before because I wasn't sure about this piece. And here is Deadpool's composer, Rob Simonson, discussing that sudden change in the phone call that he got. Take a listen. Again, this is Deadpool's composer, Rob Simonson, appearing on the Score podcast.
So there was like a week of recording left on Deadpool, and I suddenly get a text from Blake. And she sent a little video saying, I'm doing this thing, need a score. Can you deliver it in a week? And I said, I don't think a week, but maybe 3 if we have 3. So that materialized, and yeah, so it was sequential. Was able to kind of finish up Deadpool, but I was going from the dub of Deadpool and going back to the studio at night working on Blake's film. So
in a
it
week?
was a little nutty. Well, it ended up being about a month.
I have to wonder, I mean, no interest in dishing, but was there a composer before that or did they just one day wake up and say, oh, you know what we need? A score. Call that guy who's doing my husband's movie. Maybe he has time. I mean, how do you end up getting a call with we're in that kind of a pinch, unless I kind of guessed correctly?
Yeah, I think probably it was a scenario of a last second replacement.
A last second replacement of a composer in which someone got kicked out of It Ends With Us, and they pulled over this guy from Deadpool last minute, the umpteenth hour. What could have happened? I didn't know what to do with this information. I was like, okay, just store it, Candace. Something will pop up and a piece of this will make sense. So get ready. Okay. Yesterday, somebody sends me an email. It's always, like, I'm telling you, the culture, man, we are on these people. We are just like, it's a whole FBI unit of like stay-at-home moms, dads that are really good at tech, sending me information. So this woman puts on my radar that there's a Reddit post, an anonymous Reddit post, I kid you not, that went up 6 months ago. 6 months ago during the week of the It Ends With Us premiere. Now, typically Reddit posts anonymous, who cares, right? You're like, okay, well, like this seems like a stretch. No, it's not a stretch. This is amazing. This person correctly stated everything that was going to happen. Well, since what has happened since what was happening in the background, essentially they present themselves as like, I know the person, I'm a person that is going through this. Here is what is going on. And you're not going to believe what is going on and why it's happening. And of course, when this person posted on Reddit, no one believed her, because who would believe an anonymous post? A person saying that there's all this drama happening in the background. The date on this post is August 12th. Okay. So just to give you the timeline, It Ends With Us world premiere was August 6th. That's when they had the red carpet premiere. Justin Baldoni gets put into the basement. August 9th is when me, if we wanted to, could go see it in theaters. This person on August 12th decides to write a whole long post because they're overcome with emotion and they don't know where to drop it. And that's what Reddit's for, right? You can't say it to people that you know, so you just drop it on the platform. And look what this person says. This is amazing. Okay, I'm going to read you the post entirely. This is in the Reddit feed for Colleen Hoover. This user writes, okay, I know a lot of the inside drama for It Ends With Us, and I just don't know who to share it with. So here we are. I'm obviously using a throwaway, but I know someone who worked on the movie for most of its run who would have gotten these details piping hot and not some grapevine situation. They told me firsthand what they know. I'll give you the bullet points. Supposedly, Blake felt that Justin made her uncomfortable on set. One instance in particular, they said, was that Justin told Blake that she looked sexy in what she was wearing on set. I don't know the context around it. Pause there. Fact check, true. It was in Blake Lively's lawsuit. She said that he used the word sexy. This is a huge part of a lawsuit that we then found out in December. This person's dropping this tea in August. And Justin Baldoni's defense was this was a word that she introduced into our lexicon, so to speak, in terms of our friendship. She used to say sexy. So when I said sexy, I thought that was an okay term. So this person knows that. It's in both of their lawsuits. Next, they say apparently Justin wasn't happy with the original editors being cut out of the movie. So he hired his own team to do his version of the movie. Blake wanted to do her own version of the movie as a result, but Sony said no. Again, that fact check's true. We know that there were two versions that ended up being created. So Blake goes to Sony and threatens to go to the New York Times with a story that says that Justin was sexually harassing her on set if they don't let her have her own version. This is crazy, okay? Crazy, because in Justin Baldoni's suit, he alleges that for months, Blake Lively was colluding with the New York Times for months. And I'm going, where is he getting for months? We've now traced this back to December 18th. Well, this must be the version is that she basically said, give me what I want or I will go to the New York Times. Now, this is all an allegation, but it's fact checking true because she ended up going to the New York Times and actually doing this, okay, in the background. So if Sony told her, no, you don't get to edit our film, she says, I will go to New York Times and blast you for sexual harassment. Let's keep reading what this person dropped. Sony freaks out and says, okay, whatever you want. Again, when you read through Justin's complaint and what was happening behind the scenes with Sony, this, I would say, fact checks true based on the evidence and documents that I've seen. It then says Justin is banned from the Sony lot. I don't think forever, just for the run of the movie, but I could be wrong. That would make sense. If they're worried about a Me Too situation, they're going to be like, okay, we don't want this to happen. And so we're going to separate from you, creatively, not let you get involved or do anything. This is how he ends up in the basement. It then says Blake hires T Swift's music video editors to do her version while she's filming in Italy for something else. Guess what? That fact checks true as well. Blake Lively went to Italy to film A Simple Favor 2, another movie, and we had never had this tip that she hired Taylor Swift's music video editor. Okay. Next, Blake has a friends and family screening to get thoughts with lots of A-listers. Ben Affleck, Bradley Cooper, I think, et cetera, et cetera. Now, why is that stunning to me? Because another piece I couldn't figure out is why in the credits, when they make fun of It Ends With Us and they put in Gordon Reynolds, if you could pull that credit up right now, Skylar, if we could pull in the credits from It Ends With Us, if we have it, they also included Bradley Cooper. And I didn't know why. I was like, why is she giving a special thanks to Bradley Cooper in the It Ends With Us? Why did Blake Lively move to do that? That made no sense to me. This then locks that in. Bradley Cooper then sees the edit that was done with Taylor Swift's editor. This person had the tea. Let's keep, yep, there we go right there. So you see, we're pulling this up now. Gordon Reynolds, that top line. I was like, why is she thanking Bradley Cooper, Taylor Swift, Britney Spears, she wore her outfit, Austin Swift? I was like, why are we thanking Bradley Cooper? Well, this person has connected that dot for us very quickly. Let's keep reading what they had to say. So she gets their thoughts. Everyone is like, this movie makes no effing sense. Blake realizes she needs to hire an experienced film editor to fix it. So Blake uses a T Swift song in the movie that the studio loves having in there. Again, that fact check's true. We all know that they used a Taylor Swift song and they did a lot of press about that. Taylor Swift finds out that the original composer for the movie is someone that she worked with in the past that was mean to her. And she says it's either me or it's him. So you can use my song, but you got to get rid of this composer. Sony fires that composer to keep the Taylor Swift song. I think that's everything I know. Guys, I'm feeling that every single bit of that post, which happened 4 months before the general public was aware of anything going on, before any lawsuits were filed, has to be absolute facts. So that again, puts Taylor Swift at the center of this It Ends With Us drama saga, composers leaving, music in there. She was involved during this time. heavily with Ryan Reynolds and with Blake Lively. And for that reason, my friend, I am sorry, but you have to be subpoenaed. I'm sorry. You're coming to court. I am subpoenaing Taylor Swift in this lawsuit that I have nothing to do with, but I'm telling you right now, Justin Baldoni, subpoena her. Because she's got something to do with this, okay? I'm not saying how much she has to do with this, but I'm saying that Reddit post is giving me, like, we're on the money here. Sorry, Tree. We're probably going to have to subpoena Bradley Cooper, too. I think Bradley Cooper's got to come. Sorry, guys. I want everybody in the courtroom. Okay, I'm going. I'm going. I'm going to bring Savannah. I'm going to be dressed up. I am watching this go down next year. Everyone has to be subpoenaed. There was much more going on here than meets the eyes. Okay, this is like an octopus, just like covering everything. It's got more tentacles, arms than we could have ever imagined. And by the way, speaking of subpoenas, we are especially subpoenaing Colleen Hoover, okay, the writer of the book, because there's something that stinks to high heaven there. Because why did she delete her Instagram on January 22nd? Okay, she didn't delete it when Blake Lively filed. She was with Blake Lively, all this stuff. She didn't delete it when Justin Baldoni filed. I think he filed a couple of days later. Why did she move to delete her Instagram on January 22nd? After Brian Friedman started making the rounds, signaling that he was going to subpoena all of these communications. I think we're trying to delete a digital trail. I don't like it. I also don't like that shortly after we had this announcement from a Variety article. I mean, shortly after her little sit down with Blake Lively, we showed you this clip. I'm going to show it to you again, where she doesn't seem surprised when Blake Lively says, like, oh, if Colleen gets her movie back, I would love to be in the sequel. This was on CNN, just reminding you. Okay. So this is her and Blake Lively having this conversation during the week that, I think it was August 7th. Yeah. August 7th, when their movie It Ends With Us came out, reminding you what they said for a reason. Take a listen.
And is there any chance that we could have a sequence?
What?
A chance that you can have a what? A sequence, like it starts with us.
Oh. I mean, if Colleen has her rights, I'll go anywhere. I'll follow this woman anywhere.
Y'all heard her.
Y'all heard her. I did hear her. And I heard you, Colleen. You didn't seem surprised by that. And Justin Baldoni already owned the rights. You sold them to him. Wayfarer Studio already owned the rights. So what did you two know that the general public didn't know? And then following that little sit down, and then start looking into Colleen Hoover. And she, at some time around this period, at least according to this Variety article, launched her own production company with the aim of getting, control over her future books. Okay. Look at this. This is a Variety article that was published on October 7th. And it's saying Colleen Hoover novel. This is another one. Reminders of Him sets movie adaptation at Universal for Valentine's Day 2026. Okay. Buried in that article, it says she and Hoover, and they were referring to her partner Levine, will produce through their newly launched production company, Heartbones Entertainment. So I think something's going on here. I think that we're going to have to bring in some Heartbones Entertainment execs. I even went so far as to look up their LLC and see if there had been any movement. So she filed for Heartbones Entertainment LLC in Beverly Hills in California in January of 2023. I'll add it to our timeline. But there was a change. Go back to that. And this screenshot doesn't show you. She changed her agent for this LLC in October. Right. So right around the time that this came and this announcement came of Heartbones Entertainment, she moved to make her agent a very, very high flying law firm, a lawyer there that works for a law firm that's recently changed its name. I mean, they repped everyone from Johnny Depp to Brad Pitt. I mean, A-list, Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm going, what's that move about? I've got questions. I got to dig a little into Colleen Hoover, this production company being launched, a little, ha ha ha, you heard her. Yep, we did hear her, Colleen. We did. It's echoing in my mind, Colleen. And I find you to be suspicious, and I find Taylor Swift to be suspicious. And from what I know about Taylor Swift and how she got her master's and how the public still doesn't really understand how that happened from a business perspective. And yeah, it's all about the press. It's all about the press. If you can win the press war, then you can kind of do whatever you want in the background. And I am feeling, I'm getting vibes that this entire move was about sinking Justin Baldoni, potentially, because they just wanted to get this movie and the sequel out of his hands. And a better story would have been, well, we're giving it to Colleen Hoover. She's the book owner. She has to own her masters, right? Rather than, who invested in that, by the way? Heartbones Entertainment. I'm just wondering, does she own it 100%? Did Ryan and Blake make an investment in it? I want to see their Instagram communications. You can't just like throw bleach on it and smash a file and think that we're not going to find it. There's digital footprints, Colleen, and I'm going to need yours. I need yours immediately. Okay. So anyways, everyone right now is scattering into the wind, including, look at this headline, Blake Lively's own brother-in-law. Okay. So Blake Lively has a sister that is more talented than her. Her name is Robin Lively. Absolutely loved her in Teen Witch. Really a fantastic movie, Robin. Anyways, Robin is married to a guy, and he initially came out and was throwing shade at Justin Baldoni. And look at this headline, Blake Lively's brother-in-law apologizes. This is today, guys, for anything unkind he said amid Justin Baldoni drama, because now we're chasing down the real bullies, right? And so, by the way, and I think there's another headline of him saying that People Magazine is covering it. I want to say, I respect that. I respect if you got it wrong, like legitimately, and you maybe really thought she was sexually assaulted. Now you've read through the complaint and you're saying, you know what, I shouldn't have done that. That is like respectable right there. It's the people like Brandon Sklenner who are silent right now, who hype this, read the complaint, we read it, and then we read Justin's, and it is despicable that you threw a guy under the bus. And I think Brandon Sklenner, he's got to be subpoenaed. Okay. He absolutely must be subpoenaed into my courtroom. That's how I feel. I want Brendan Sklenar, Colleen Hoover, and Taylor Swift subpoenaed into this courtroom. And an article in the Daily Mail is not going to stop that Taylor Swift team. So we will pause there.
You know what's interesting with this Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's saga is the fact that the more you dig and uncover some things, the more you realize that there are multiple players to this and multiple players against Justin Baldoni. Now you understand the reason why he folded, because he now realized that it is so many people against him, or he is up against so many people, and he doesn't have the resources or anything to fight against them. So this speaks so much volume. Now, the part where Taylor came in and all that, do you think that part was a coincidence? Of course not, it wasn't. It was all planned and all, because I mean, you go into or go to your friend's apartment and they're having a meeting. Obviously, lots of people would be like, "Oh well, this meeting does not concern me, so I will not chip in and all that." But you chipped in and tried to defend and play the good friend and all that. Of course, you involved yourself in this. Then talk about Colin Hoover. Her silence speaks so much volume, and she already knows how much involved, or how this does not look good for her. Obviously, she now realizes it. But again, there are multiple players to this, and obviously, it's not looking good for all of those players. But this is just the truth uncovering and coming out to play in good favor for Justin Baldoni. But let me know what you think.